So at Newfield, um, we have this model, the OAR model. And as Alexander said, it is one of the foundational models. And it's quite simple, which is lovely. And in its simplicity, it also has quite a bit of depth, which means that we can revisit and come back to. And my experience of working with this model for over 20 years is that I always discover something new. So I invite you to be present with this model in terms of what we've been speaking about today, coming from a place of wonder, coming from a place of curiosity. So the first aspect of this model is to recognize that we engage in the world, we are in the world, and we generate results. We constantly are creating and producing and obtaining results as an individual, right? And what we do has an impact. It has this result reality aspect that happens. And when we are dissatisfied with our results, when we are frustrated with our results, annoyed, fed up with our reality, when something is not working for us and we think enough, this isn't right working for us, our dominant tendency in today's world, what do? When we don't like our results, we change our, right? Most people are in their mind most likely thinking action. Right? We don't like our results. Well, change your actions. This is not something shocking or new in today's world. Quite the contrary. It's something that we take as a given. It's something we assume is obvious. Well, if you don't like your results, then the obvious thing to do is to change your actions or to change your interactions. And while this is legitimate, and while this is something that we can do to alter our results, there is something that we can look at to say, well, if we're taking certain actions and we're wanting something different within that realm of actions, well, we can amplify, we can increase, or we can augment our actions, or perhaps we can diminish or lessen something. Right? So for example, we want more money. Well, we'll work longer hours. We'll add more hours. Yeah, so here's the result we want. Here's an action we can do to obtain it. But what often happens is that we don't recognize that our actions are within a limited range, that there are certain parameters within those actions that we can change. And so this is an important thing, is that the actions that we can see as possible are actually determined by something else. And here is what we begin to look at, that rather than simply changing the results or changing our reality by changing our action, which is the dominant understanding, is that we can actually zoom out a little further to our observer. And when we zoom out to observer, we recognize that the actions we take are consistent with the observer we are. The results that we obtain, the reality that arises, is consistent with the observer that we are. So when we want to expand the range of actions that is possible, or we want to shift the reality, we can begin to examine the observer we are. And you see this big arrow that goes from reality to observer. We can call that leap learning, because suddenly there's a jump, an expansion in the possibilities that become available to us. When we're able to see how we see, observe how we observe, and notice how we notice, suddenly a whole new range of actions is possible to us, and a whole new range of results and a different reality appears.